Toastmasters and guests, please welcome Paul Marnie with his speech entitled The Good Word. The Good Word, Paul Marnie.
Mr. Toastmaster, guests, fellow Toastmasters. I'm wondering if any of you here can tell me who I'm quoting in this brief passage. And I should say that the ums and ahs you might hear in this passage are, on my part, at least this time, deliberate. I quote, it's a disappointing day. It's a disappointing result. But nevertheless, I could not have asked for more support from my colleagues, from my staff, and from the party at large. Can anybody tell me, Jen?
Is that figures?
Well done. Mr. Tony Abbott. That was Tony Abbott, after hearing the decision of the independents. Now, I would like to recommend to Tony Abbott that he inquire and possibly join Toastmasters International, and preferably Sandbelt Toastmasters Club by Morris, if he's ever in Melbourne on Wednesday evening. Because I believe strongly that Tony Abbott would benefit greatly from joining Toastmasters. Because one of the things we do at Toastmasters, if you haven't noticed already, or you haven't had any experience, is that we try to eliminate things like ums and ahs from our public speaking. We also try to eliminate things like, you know. Now, I learned at Toastmasters through an evaluation by one of my fellow club members that I often say, you know. And you will notice, some of you, that I've left whistles, party whistles, on the table in front of you. What I ask you to do, if you don't mind, if you hear me saying, you know, during tonight's talk, please blow the whistle. I want to know about it. I want to improve. Now, how do I perceive Toastmasters? I like to think of Toastmasters in terms of what I call the 3 C's. They are camaraderie, confidence, and creativity. And I'll just run through those with you this evening briefly to tell you what I think about Toastmasters and how much I enjoy it. I've been a member of Toastmasters for about 6 years. I had a 3-year stint, then 3 years away and 3 years back. And a real benefit I find in Toastmasters is the camaraderie, because we're all in the same boat. We're all learning. And Toastmasters is a great way to learn together. And we might find that we make mistakes occasionally. Well, does that really matter? Well, that's probably a benefit. I think it's like driving a car. You might be driving along a straight road, but is the steering wheel ever still? Or is it continually doing this? The car would not just go down that straight road if you let it go. It's always veering off and you're adjusting it. And that's what mistakes help us do. We learn, we make a mistake, we have an evaluation, and we learn not to do that again. We improve all the time. So that's a good thing. And with all of that, we're in this thing together, and I believe that fellow members, when we're talking, are willing us to do well. So I recommend, if you ever try Toastmasters, just keep that in mind. You're in an audience and you're there to do well, and the people with you are hoping you'll do well. They want to hear a polished performance and see people improve. The second C is confidence. What I'd like to say to people when they join Toastmasters is that it's their stage. This is my 7 minutes, so whether you like it or not, you have to listen to me. This is my piece of floor, and I can come up, I can come close, move back, move around, wherever I like. So make the most of it. And this camaraderie that I was talking about helps you build confidence in your public speaking. And that creates opportunities outside as well. Because if you're confident, you might find, as I do, and I'm sure other members of Toastmasters find, they actually enjoy getting out there and talking, whether it's to a large group, a small group, one-on-one. And I've found in my own personal life that I've spoken in many situations that meant a lot to me. I've presented eulogies, I've given speeches at significant birthdays in the family, and I like to think that other people there have got something out of that, as I have as well. So in business as well, it's a wonderful opportunity to impress others. And too often you'll see people who miss that opportunity because they haven't been trained properly in public speaking. So what about third C, creativity? The one thing I really enjoy about Toastmasters is the idea of having to create something from nothing. You might know that you're scheduled to give a speech, say in 4 weeks. You usually have plenty of time to think about it. And I love that idea of thinking, firstly, what will I speak about? Then I might have an idea, and then it's a matter of grabbing little thoughts. And what I do, just as a little tip, I usually have with me a little notepad. Because it's often said that you often have an idea, what you think is a great idea, but 10 minutes later, all you remember is that you had a great idea. You don't remember what it was. You think, only if I write it down, but don't forget the pen either. It's good to have a pen with you. So it's always, I just have one in my pocket at work or wherever. Thank you. Go for it, please. Still doing it. And as the speech approaches, I'll sit down and go through my little notepad and grab the little points that I've made along the way in with all sorts of other things that I've got in there, and I start to put the speech together and build it up. And it's a great feeling getting out there and actually presenting something that you've worked on over time that's your idea. But it's not just the issues that you're delivering and presenting, it's the way you deliver it. Because within reason, there's no limits on what you can do. You might choose to dress in a certain way, you might choose to have some music or have different props, all sorts of things. Make the most of it and really enjoy it. So they're the 3 C's, camaraderie, confidence and creativity. I believe all critical to Toastmasters and your enjoyment of Toastmasters. And what I'd like to do is just leave you with a couple of tips in presenting. And one of those is another C, and that's to avoid cliches. A cliche is an non-original thought that's been used many times. There's not much effort in using a cliche. An example I find a lot when in Melbourne, as we invariably hear Aussie World footballers on the TV, they always say things like, as I said, like I say, another 10 words, like I said, yeah, we know you said it, but don't keep saying it, please. Well, the champion might be coming off the ground at the end of the game and he's kicked 10 goals and the journalist is talking to him and saying, what a brilliant performance. And he'll say, full credit to the boys. The boys really came through. I'm really proud of the boys. Yeah, okay. But we hear that all the time. Another tip is if you ever use PowerPoint and you have a screen behind you, don't stand there looking at the screen as you're talking to your audience, because tell me if you can hear me as well now as you can now. And how do you feel when somebody turns their back to you? Of course. It's much easier to have a laptop in a good position on a desk nearby. You can look down at that briefly, but still face the audience at least, and then look down and up quickly. Keep that eye contact going. So just a couple of tips to make the most of your public speaking after you may have been through presentation training or public speaking training through the Toastmasters. So just to wrap up, it's the 3 C's, camaraderie, confidence and creativity, and tips like the PowerPoint presentations and avoiding cliches. I recommend Toastmasters International very highly, and if you take it up, I hope you enjoy it as much as I have. Mr. Toastmaster.